One. I think we're live. It's so exciting. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News. Not news, but it's where I share with you headlines from the news and I give you my thoughts and perspective on some of those headlines, on some of the articles, on the subject matter in general, on whatever might come up between us. Whatever. But just remember, it's not news. It's just my notes on the news. We're trying to synthesize what's going on in the world so that we can advance the conversation, so that we can advance our analysis of what's going on, so that we can advance our understanding of what going on. Welcome. Thanks for the like. As you come on in, bring a like. Like, share, comment, subscribe. We're working on 1,000 subscribers. So welcome to my house. And I just really appreciate that like. I'm Angela and the channel is Be Fabulous You. Let us proceed. But before we get to the news feed, I wanted to share with you the daily words of the Buddha from yesterday. I forgot yesterday. Ever grows the glory of one who is energetic, mindful, and pure in conduct, discerning and self-controlled, righteous, and heedful. Ever grows the glory of one who is energetic, mindful, and pure in conduct, discerning and self-controlled, righteous, and heedful. Uh-oh, who's that calling me while I'm trying to have a conversation? Are you energetic, mindful, pure in conduct, discerning and self-controlled, righteous, and heedful? How can you be more of that? All right. I was just asking. I'm just wondering. Let us proceed with the notes on the news feed, from my news feed. Girls jump from balcony to escape blaze. So I think it's in New Jersey. It was a second floor dance studio, I think. So, just peace to everybody who's been involved with that. I imagine that was kind of like an intense type of situation. Australian man scams unsuspected followers. And that's what you got to do. If you scam and the people can't suspect, if they suspect, it's probably harder to scam, right? Australia. It's some janky people in Australia. There were originally, because some of the people that they sent to Australia, hey, just checking in, have a great day, thank you. Some of the people that they sent to Australia were, not like they're best in their greatest, but just some people they like, let's just send them on over there. I'm just saying, that's what I heard. Maybe it's not true. Australian man scams unsuspected followers out of thousands of dollars with a BLM Facebook page. BLM as in Black Lives Matter. And I think I saw his face. He didn't look black to me. I guess that's why it was a scam, huh? I heard it was the largest Black Lives Matter Facebook page. Watch Mark Zuckerberg's first congressional hearing at 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be in like a half hour. Are you watching? I watched something. Who was it who was testifying? I watched probably about 3 or 4 months ago. I watched something. I don't know if I'm going to watch that or not. I wonder if they're going to like jump into other, what is it called when they cut in the shows? Like, is it like that serious? Is it serious? It's serious. It's serious because they got it on my news feed. The Michael Cohen raids were reportedly centered on payments to 2 women who say they had affairs with Trump. How Alabama, he's going to try to save face. I hear he's been out here apologizing. But you know how we feel about sorry for colored girls who've considered suicide when the rainbow was enough. One thing I don't need is any more apologies. Just do shit right the first time. I mean, you can't go back, but I don't believe it. I haven't even heard it. I don't believe it. How Alabama is becoming the auto capital of the South. Alabama is also where the lynching, it's not called the lynching museum. It's called the, what did I say? Oh my gosh. I try to be conscious. Not called the Lynching Museum, maybe the Peace and Justice Museum. Now I'm going to have to play it back. Hey, Sister Mary Jane. 1, 2, it's like about 6 exclamation points. I thought it was 3 or 4. When your comments show up, it's like Mary Jane, like with fervor. So Alabama is the place where I think it's called the Peace and Justice Museum. But I just thought, like, when I saw that imagery, like maybe last year or the year before, where they were collecting dirt from all of the different places and they had it on like shelves, places where people had been lynched, like just the color of the dirt. And, you could like imagine, like it was so much, like you wouldn't think like dirt has that much variety, although I do, because I kind of pay attention to it a little bit. But, it just, I didn't hear that bad word. Can you repeat it? I know. Brother Ayapo, can you repeat it, please? The congregation wants to know. Was it Alexa? So just, you can imagine, or I could imagine, like the variation in dirt doesn't even begin to get to, spit? Did I say spit? I try to be clean. It's just hard. So just like the variation in dirt doesn't even begin to get to the variation of the people and their circumstances, and just the color. I don't know. I just thought it was visually very interesting. So I think it's called the Peace and Justice Museum, and I would like to call it that because I think that's way more positive than the Lynching Museum. Okay. So I'm going to find out what the proper name is and refer to it by such. So Alabama is becoming the auto capital of the South. I guess because of all this right to work stuff, and because they're so regressive there, they can get, almost the equivalent close to of, third world labor without having the expense of having to transport materials back and forth. But the labor costs are probably relatively low, I would imagine. Much lower than Michigan, although I think the unions have been broken here too. But the 19 jobs in the U.S. with the biggest gender pay gaps. So we started seeing the stories about gender pay in media in UK, Britain, whatever it's called, probably about a week or 2 weeks ago. And now we're starting to see a whole bunch of stories and conversations about it in our media, in our situation. It was interesting. I was watching Sister Circle today, and, I know what the format is. The format is not necessarily designed to be in-depth, although I think that they do some things relatively in-depth, considering that, like, what the nature of the show is. Like they had a little segment today on Wakanda. And so they had like a map of Africa, and they talked about different, like when you look at Black Panther, you see all the colors. If you go up north to Morocco, and, you see, the waterfalls, and here it is in Victoria Falls. And, I thought it was very interesting and educational, and I appreciated that. I wish one of those women, I think some of them wear like their hair braided, but, I feel like they try to be progressive in their way. But when they were talking about the gender pay gap, Miss Quad went into a whole conversation about how, as women, we have to negotiate our salary. Now, I do think that as women, as Black people, as whomever, we have to negotiate our salary. But I was just kind of like, it seems like we have these same conversations over and over again, where we put the responsibility on the victim. So, I think that when you're in the situation, I can't in and of myself change the system. So of course I do need to learn how to negotiate salary. But as a Black woman, how many darn things there are on my list of things to do, in addition to learning how to negotiate salary and researching what's, it's sort of like the onus is on me as the victim, as opposed to we need to readjust the system. But of course, there's always this lack of integration about how things are going on throughout the world and how they connect, and how if you actually get to the synthesis, you can get to the root. But as long as you keep things separate and isolated, like, oh, someone got shot over there, but it has nothing to do with the person who got shot over there, has nothing to do, it's all, or like there's racism in housing, but that has nothing to do with racism in employment, has nothing to do, but it's all connected. So when you start to integrate stuff, you see, I know it's hard for us, for real. When you start to integrate stuff, you start to, your analysis, your ability to move forward is better. I feel like when we're just looking at stuff in isolation, it's just kind of like, no, I only came back to Hattiesburg because somebody just, okay. It's hard to, when you're looking at stuff in isolation, it's hard to the strength is lost and the power is lost. So like yesterday we were talking about, the little, if you have one twig, you can break it easy. But if you bundle a whole bunch of twigs, you can't break it. It's strength. Somebody messaged me and it jumps up on my screen. So I got distracted. Somebody I know from Hattiesburg, where I lived for 10 years, 5-10 years. I don't know how long I was there. But, and also when you start to like put people together, you have strength. When you start to put information together, you have strength and the ability to like really analyze and progress. As long as it's piecemeal, it's hard we just stay in the same loop of, oh, poor pitiful us. Oh, they did this to us. Oh, this is happening. And, like sometimes like when I would watch Roland Martin or, when I watch, some things, oh, Picayune. When I watch some things, I kind of feel like I really wish that our media, we were doing like the way that Roland Martin covered the election, it just kind of seemed like we're like in a loop. And I wish we could like get out of that loop and start to like do more analysis, put stuff in the broader context of, I'm like, when I was watching the segment, I'm like, well, do these women know about the Equal Rights Amendment? And I don't expect the hosts to know much because they don't seem very sophisticated. And probably their producers aren't very sophisticated. And then my mother was like, well, they only have 2 minutes for a segment. And it's kind of like, well, if we are creating, that's our station. TV One is a Black-owned station. And so I kind of feel like I understand that it's a mainstream show, and I understand that most of us, our ability to process information is limited to sound bites in a way, but we will never get beyond those limitations if we're not pushing ourselves. We will never get beyond those limitations if we accept the system as it is instead of reshaping the system for us. It's our show. That's our station. So why don't we start to, or maybe they are, because I think the piece on Wakanda, I thought it was interesting and progressive in a way. I thought, like, where else do you see, I don't want to be like totally critical. Because I'm not. It's just like I just want to invite us and challenge us to continue to push and continue to figure out, how we can innovate, how we can be leaders, how we can take what we have, that's our nature. We're creative by nature. We're creative people. We've, like how we can just, continue to do that and do that on the next level. So, yeah. So gender pay gap. So yeah, negotiate salary, but also, there's a whole movement. How many people think Wakanda is an actual place? It made me sad. Yeah. Yeah. And then when they did the piece, she said, well, Ethiopia, Wakanda was a fictional place that had never been colonized. And Ethiopia is there are 2 places on the continent that haven't. Ethiopia is one of them, blah, 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 blah. She talked about Ethiopia. But I wish that she had just said what the other place was, because I feel like we need to continue to keep certain things in our consciousness. But, I like that the piece was, I heard Wakanda means one people. Oh, I never knew that. I don't know. I don't even know what language it is. Oh, see, what language is it? Wakanda means God in the Sioux because that's pretty. That's useful. I like though that they were trying to advance the conversation and be. Because I feel like some of us have never looked at the continent of Africa. And she did make a point of saying, Africa is a continent and there are various countries. And, I thought there was a lot. There's a lot that I think is really interesting about what they're doing with that news show. Now, I don't know why, I don't want to call it a news show, but I don't know why they canceled the news show. And then this is on. So it's sort of like this is a little more lightweight than an actual news show. Among the melanated. Interesting. Well, then that was, I guess the white people who wrote the Marvel comic made a good choice in choosing Wakanda as a name. Comedian T.J. Miller was arrested on suspicion of calling in a fake bomb threat from an Amtrak train. So it's suspicion. I've seen some, I don't know. But it was just kind of confusing to me because it seems like, I guess if you do a practical joke on your friends, you're wasting your friends' time and energy. But it seemed like if you calling in fake bomb threats, I'm not saying he did it, it's allegedly, but it's like a waste of people's time. TJ Miller, I don't really know who he is. But I just thought it was interesting because these people who like, there's a term for it, for calling in these like fake, it's not called doxing. I can't remember what it's called, but like when you do that, it's like you're wasting people's time. You're wasting resources. It's like, it seems so wasteful and just so like, and not like just your friends and family's time, but like the community's time and resources. And everything is not funny. And like, it's wasteful. Like while they over there trying to deal with that bomb threat, they not doing something that probably need to be done. Like, it just seems like, I don't know. I mean, so like, that whole thing of like, what do we think is funny and why, I guess kind of caught my attention. Because I'm like, that just seems dumb. In addition to possibly causing a riot, comedians do anything for a laugh. I disagree. Some of them, again, it's allegedly. We don't know for sure that he did it. Hey, Andres. Or I don't know. And And I guess you have to, when you, like, not, people have lost their lives behind foolishness like that. Right. We heard about the guy the other day where they got into an argument over the video game, and he's like, give me your address. I'm going to send the bomb squad there. And then he like, okay, I'll give you my address. Gave him the wrong address. And they went to the cops went to the wrong place and shot somebody. And I think the person died on some foolishness. But that's why I was thinking about it. Like, one of the happiest countries has one of the highest divorce rates, but new rules may change that. They did kill the person. Okay. So rest in peace to that person. I remember that story a couple months ago. So I was wondering, like, does the freeness of the divorce rate, is that like contributing to the happiness of the people? So now in this country, I think you pay $60 and you can like get a divorce like within a week. And they're changing it so that you have to have like a 3-week contemplation period. They use some other language, but like, do we want to get divorced? Children, do you want us to get divorced? No, it's economics. And the happiest, I guess the happiest country in the world, according to this research, it's a European country, like a Nordic country. I don't remember, but I'm pulling it up now. According to them, I don't know what Denmark is one of the world's happiest countries. I don't know on Scandinavia. Oh, is that different from Nordic? It's not. It's Denmark. Danish. I don't know really where Denmark is. I got a map I keep meaning to bring so I could try to educate myself a little bit. And it's like a proportion. It's like I can't remember what kind of map it is, but you know how some maps, the continent of Africa and the country of the United States look like they're about the same size. They're all about the same to me too, more or less. Because I haven't been, probably if I had been, like now that I've been to India, I have like a frame of reference of stuff. But before I went, it's like, I don't know. It's like, you've been to Germany, so you probably have like a frame of reference for some of that stuff that, And then it's not like I'm going to like go out of my way to study, Denmark. Those governments take very good care of their citizens. The words Americans and Brits use in the workplace illustrate fascinating cultural differences. It made me think about, I remember my first husband was like, Americans are so violent. And I can't remember like, let's take a stab at it. And I'm going to shoot that idea down. Like he just thought that language was like very violent. And I'm like, well, it's just a metaphor. And then when I thought about it, I'm like, it is kind of like, we do have some violent metaphors for stuff, They say that in England, in America, we use like things like trailblazer and pathfinder. That's kind of like colonizer in a way. And then in Britain, they use terms like proactive and blue sky thinking and 360-degree thinking and thought shower. But I guess being single equals happiness. Where was he from? Tibet? No, he was from Canada. And he was Jamaican, but he had grown up in Canada. And I think that Canada has this impression of themselves as being like gentler and more genteel, or, they are, it is a different culture, but it's not, but it did. But anyway, that headline and that article and that concept got me to thinking about, like, I know, for example, what I've been trying to train myself to say now is, instead of saying, oh, I always have a hard time drinking water, I know what to purchase something online. We call it pulling the trigger. First Nations say it more racist than America. And so, I just wanted to take a moment collectively to think about the language that we use, and, just how is that impacting how we're experiencing the world? Because even in the context of this American English that we're speaking, I feel like we can, make some progress even without, I think we do need to speak other languages, and I think we need to speak, our ancestral languages more and more and more, and be more familiar with them. But even in the context of this language, how can we take more control and be more creative and be more conscious? Because words, have an impact on our experience. So, like, one thing that I've been working on a lot, I hear pull the trigger all the time. But one thing I've been working on a lot is, drinking water is just so hard for me. And so now I try to say, in the past, it's been very difficult for me to drink water. Like, just adding that in the past to open up the possibility that in the future, it may be something different. So, just wanted to think about, invite us to pay attention to what we're saying, and to think about, and discuss and explore, maybe collectively, what are some, when we say, now I hear a lot of people saying colonizer, or I heard somebody say, oh my gosh, I'm clutching my cowrie shells. Now, since I heard that, I was like, I'm going to say that instead of pearls, I'm going to clutch some cowrie shells. But since I heard that, I haven't had any occasion to say it yet. But, so what are some, that's true, visualize. So what are some things, some terms, some expressions, that, maybe don't serve us well, and maybe, we can be more conscious and have a different experience. Like, for example, that term white supremacy, I just, now that I think about it, it's like, the connotation is too positive. Like, it does not capture at all. I like to say water is my favorite beverage, and now water is all I pretty much drink. Oh, I like that. I always say, when, instead of being like, I hate winter, I started saying, well, winter is my fourth favorite season, to try to be more positive about it. I love water. I love water so much. Water is the greatest. I love me some water. I love water. I love water. I have always loved water. I will always love water. And I will always love you, water. Ooh. Yeah, and and so I think, also when in coaching scenarios, it's very interesting when you start to hear, when you talk to people about certain things, they're like, oh, I have to have my meat, or whatever. It's like you can hear the language that we use and the ways in which we're attached to things, and sometimes just shifting that language can begin to shift, our relationship to things. So that's all, yeah. The YouTube hack defaces music videos from Drake, Taylor Swift, and this is updated. So when you go in the videos, they had some on the cover page, they had some Palestinian people holding guns, I think it was, and it said hacked. So you'd hit the click to see Drake's video, God's Plan, One Wheel, whatever it is, and it would be that. I have to have me some meat money, honey. I have to, girl. I can't live without that now. And then I don't want to even get into that. But anyway, so that was just kind of interesting to me, this whole hackation thing, I don't know if you hack into a music video like that just to show that you can. It's sort of like showing your hand, look what I can do. You know what I mean? Because for what? But anyway, it does demonstrate that you done hacked the system. Israeli minister praises viral video sniper. So I don't know if you've heard about it, but there's a video that's gone viral, at least in Israel, where a man is shooting a Palestinian guy. And then I think when he shoots the guy, they're like, yay, it's so wonderful. You got him. You killed him. Woohoo for killing. Yesterday, we were talking about the people, the Israeli people sitting down like they were at a lynching or something, watching people get shot and killed and all of that. Like it was like a entertainment and fun. And so I guess this like kind of continues the conversation about, you know, the violence of that culture vis-a-vis, you know, maybe everything, but definitely toward Palestinians. But what I think is interesting is this is like 2 days in a row that we're seeing like anti-Israel, like it's like, I feel like it's hard come. It's unusual for me to see articles where they're like dogging out Israel, because usually it's like, oh, all hell Israel. Israel is the greatest. You know, like you can't say, don't say nothing about my Israel. That's how, you know, that's been like one of America's biggest allies, right? Israel, South America, Australia, you know, all of the progressive places in the world. You know, the racially hostile and aggressive and regressive and, you know, backwards places have been, you know, so I don't know what's going on. I'm like, I think that the propaganda is shifting or something, right? What's going on? 73 years later, remains of lost Tuskegee airmen may have been discovered in Europe. So I guess this is someone who was missing in action during the war, and they may have found someone's body. I don't know what his name is. I'll click so I can say his name. Here's why a British politician will escape punishment for hacking. I think this woman was brown. She was a woman. First of all, I think she was a woman. Captain Lawrence E. Dixon, according to Washington Post, one of 900 black pilots trained. Oh, it was less than 1,000 trained during World War II. I didn't know what war it was. I just said the war because I'm like, is it World War II, World War I? I'm just going to say the war because I don't really know. World War II. Okay. He'd be the first of 27 missing Tuskegee airmen found since the war ended. So there are 27 black soldiers over there. His plane began losing speed. Oh, wait, there's a picture of him. I was just going to shoot off. So that's Captain Lawrence E. Dickinson. He was a 24-year-old fighter pilot. Oh, I must have gone backwards. I thought I was going forward and I was going backwards. Excuse me for one moment while I go forward. Here's why a British politician will escape punishment for hacking. I don't know why, but I think she was like a brown woman. Why is she out here hacking? I think somebody asked, what's the worst thing you did? And she said she hacked. Exclusive, Erica Ashe on her in contempt role and tackling the flawed legal system. So, Quad has been canceled. You know what happened on the last episode of Quad? I know I'm reviewing it and I haven't gotten there yet. You know what happened on the last episode? They burned that stuff down. The way it was written, I don't know. But well, I do know. But the way it was written, it was basically like there was a battle the whole year for the HBCU to have independence, or there were some people who were battling for independence. One of the black people sold the black university out basically to a white university that has like as the main liaison between the black university, a black woman. So that was a whole nother thing, although there was a black woman who was fighting for the independence of the HBCU. But then there became like this symbolic building, which was representative of the founder of the university, of the HBCU. And so this tech person had purchased the building and wanted to like plaster his name all over it. And the people are basically like, well, y'all give up. And the children went and they threw, they say it was Molotov cocktails. Now I missed that, but I thought I saw them throwing gasoline, but they burned that biatch down. They said, if we can't have it, if we can't have our legacy, we're not going to let you deface our legacy with this bull. I was kind of like, wow. It seemed like this is a theme, right? We were talking about My Cousin Mary Thomas and Fireburn, and this is a show called The Quad on BET. And so now they have this new show coming. I've been seeing commercials for it, In Contempt. And it's supposed to be like different, like the way it kind of like gives you the feeling that they're going to explore, the criminal justice system and how many people are locked up who have never even been tried, and how the system, you plea bargain, and that's how a lot of people get in, and what large person, it's like the system is just jacked up. So they give you the impression that they're going to be dealing with that. But what's interesting to me is that the cast and the writing, like the vibration, it just seems clumsy and young and awkward to me. And so I was kind of like, Anika Noni Rose was the lead actor on The Quad. And there was like a certain Whitley from, Jasmine Guy was on it. There were like some actors on that show. And this show just seems like a bunch of young people. So, I'm kind of like, why are they canceling The Quad? I mean, I don't know what the numbers are, but I mean, this season was even better than last season. And so now they have this In Contempt coming. I'm just very suspicious, I guess, or I have my eyes on BET because we know it's not Black owned anymore. And so I'm curious to like their products. I'm like, what are they putting out and why? From their perspective, what are they putting out and why? What agenda are they advancing with it? And when I consume their products, Jasmine Guy is not aging well. She looked good to me. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's on TV. I don't know what she looks like in person. I know when I met her in person, she was like smaller than me. I don't consider myself small, but I'm relatively small, and she was like teeny tiny. I'm like, oh my gosh, but she looked good. They, I don't know what's wrong with how she's aging. So anyway, somebody named Erica Ash has a role on this show, In Contempt. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it, although I do like, I'm not a BET watcher either. I do like, now these are some new shows that they have on. They have a game show on called Black Card Revoked, and it's actually funny. Like, I didn't want to, it's like, I guess it's like a real game in the real world, and they put it on the TV show, and like almost every time I watch it, I laugh. It's only a half hour, and then they have a half hour once a week news show, which is not really a news show. It's more like an entertainment show, but she does cover some news topics, and she does, like, I don't know if they would call them mini documentaries, but they get into stuff like, it can't be like more than a 5-minute segment, but on things like, racism in artificial intelligence. Last week they were talking about the fact that, or they did a little mini documentary on the housing situation, how Black people just these banks ain't loaning Black people money. No, I have to look at that clip. I don't stay up for Saturday Night Live. It's just, but sometimes I will watch it on YouTube. So since you said that, who's hosting this show? Now, this show on BET is called The Rundown with Robin Thede. It comes on Thursday nights at 11. And it's I'm not familiar with her, but apparently she has been a writer and like been involved with this type of work for a while. But she's it's like very pop culture-y. Like, they'll be like, oh, well, Trump's hair. I mean, it's like a lot of the things that are trending on Twitter, social media, Instagram get incorporated into politics. It's very fast-paced. It's funny. It's clever. The level of analysis is like Chadwick was dignified on SNL, unlike others. That's encouraging. The level of analysis is like, it's like not, it's not like, but when they get into the mini docs, they actually do some I think some reasonable analysis. Like, I'm not mad at that. And then because it's a pop culture show, your expectations are low, but I mean, BET has come and gone because I think the last thing I watched on BET, I was really excited about. It was supposed to be a woman who was inside of the police department, and then her brother got shot, and then she was about to bring the police department down from the inside. And it was almost supposed to be like a, like blaxploitation, like a Foxy Brown, but like modern day Foxy Brown. So she wore like the main character wore, I don't know who Ed Gordon is. The main character wore all kinds of like natural hairstyles. Like she was actually like, some of these natural hair girls out here who are like doing the most. So that was very credible. It was like it was the show was a disappointment. It fell short the way it was written. There was like a lot of stuff that I was not happy about it. So I was happy when that didn't come back. The Quiet, on the other hand, I thought that they were starting to, I thought that they got, last year it was okay, and I felt like it got better this year. So, but I wish I could, like it's sort of like as I consume things, I try to be conscious and try to imagine, well, who put this together and why? What's their agenda? You know what I mean? Like not just like blindly and passively just accept what they give me, like but just try to be actively engaged and thinking about it and analyzing, and it takes some of the fun out of it. But who's worried about fun when I'm trying to save my life? U.S. revenge porn victim gets $6.4 million damage award. So I guess revenge porn is like when we break up and then you take naked pictures of me and you put them like on out in the public, naked pictures or videos or images of me, and you put them on the public domain to hurt me because you're mad because we broke up. So someone got 6.4 million, and I guess it's like a so childish. Yes, it is. I guess this is kind of like a new thing. I mean, because with things being digitized, I guess even if you put it like, if I took your video and sold it to a porn company, in the 70s, how many people are going to see it? But if your stuff is online, a gazillion people throughout the world could see it. So 3 things I wish I'd known before I left the city for the suburbs. I want to see more analysis, because I have seen one article that kind of analyzed the fact that the suburbs are, for the most part, benefiting from the infrastructure and a lot of things that happen in the city, and it's cheaper to live in the suburbs because it's more expensive to live in the city. It's like the suburbs are eating off the city. I like to see more of that analysis. That's just what it reminded me of. I remember reading that article and thinking, I prefer the city. Yeah, I think I like the city, but I also I agree, just break up and go on your way. I don't understand the vindictiveness. Me either. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and some people are like crazy. I mean, I guess most people do just break up, but some people, I'm like, what in the world? Victoria's Secret is down to its last carrot to keep customers from fleeing. I guess Victoria's Secret is having issues. I never liked Victoria's Secret. I remember people were like, "Ooh, Victoria's Secret," but by the time that I was like, I like the country too, but only if it's citified. I never have. I've actually had people get mad at me because I would not be vindictive, because they want to see. Oh, okay. I guess I'm going to try to talk quick. I don't know what's going on and why. By the time I got into, I was in New York, and there were all kinds of fancy, real lingerie is hand done. And so you could get beautiful art, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. And then Victoria's Secrets, I'm like, this seems mass produced, and it doesn't really seem like all that. So I never I was just kind of boo. It just never. I was just So I'm not sad to see it go. I know. I was trying to tell you, it was saying very bad connection. Then I hit the button. Usually it says very bad connection, then it'll come back. Then it said very bad connection, then it went out, and it's press the button to try. You did that out of spite. And then it said push the button and I try again. And I pushed the button and it just circled around. You know, I'm the queen of vindictiveness. I have a Scorpio moon. So that's my speciality. No, but I understand Scorpios. I don't understand vindictiveness because I'm just like, I've moved on. Like once I'm like, I guess I understand that part that's like, once it's a wrap for me. Like, I don't even care. I'm like, be happy. Bye. Who has time or energy to be vindictive? I'm not even invested. I don't even care like that. I mean, you cool, we cool, but I want to see you win. If I was with you, I still want to see you win. I was with you because you cool. Bye. Beat it. One map shows how much money men make. One map shows how much more money men make than women in every U.S. state. So again, these statistics or this information is like, we're talking about it in the United States. Last week, we were only talking about it in UK and UK and Britain. I guess Britain is one place, in the United Kingdom includes, like, wasn't Hong Kong part of the United Kingdom? That VS lingerie is for white girls, all that painful, tight, invasive, expensive underwear. I have seen some beautiful underwear. I mean, I'm just saying, and I was just amazed at how beautiful it was. I mean, just, to go into the store and just look is like beautiful to me, because who would have thunk it? Before then, I just knew about, I don't know. 16 of the most alien looking beaches on earth. Britain is England, Wales, Scotland, Ireland. Oh, but what's the United Kingdom? That's more than Britain. The United Kingdom is part of Britain. But wait a second. Britain is part of the United Kingdom, but the United Kingdom is not. Britain is included in the United Kingdom, but you know what I'm saying. Oh, it's the same thing. I want to go to some alien looking beaches. I've never been anywhere with black sand. I don't particularly care about Hillary Clinton. I don't really care about that's probably a very sophisticated illusion that I missed. Oh, you said I find that I don't particularly care for white sand because it seems like in my experience it's grittier and like more inclined to like be invasive. But I would like to see like a black sand beach. They're like different. I like to see some of that stuff. I want to see everything in the whole wide world. Maybe not, but more things. Oh wow! I don't know how my thing is. Oh, here we are. PBS series Finding Your Roots on hold after omitting references to slaveholding in Ben Affleck's ancestry. I think this was an old article. It's coming off of Black Men. But I think that's an old article. But what I thought was interesting is that, or what kind of caught my attention about it and why I put it back on my news feed is because, we have this conversation. Yeah, that's old news. We have this conversation about, well, my parents, you weren't enslaved, and my parents didn't have slaves. So, I don't want to say we have this conversation because I don't really engage in that conversation with white people when I have such little contact with white people anyway. It's usually about like, okay, so we're going to do Shrek. Okay, so you want to get the food or you want meat? Okay. Like it's not really about anything that I care about deeply. Or, it's like isolated, it's not like a comprehensive conversation. But, I think that it's interesting because some of these people want to claim, even though it's obvious that they're not only the beneficiary, to me, it's obvious that they're not only the beneficiaries of black sand beaches like the Shelter Cove close to the Red Forest. Okay, so that's something that's Northern California. Now I've been to San Diego and San Francisco, but I've never been above San Francisco, so I didn't know. I really like San Diego, although California kind of freaks me out. But they're beneficiaries not only of the system of enslavement, whether their families directly benefited throughout the generations, and they're still benefiting from it. But the whole, all of white society benefited off of the slave system, North, South, slaveholders, non-slaveholders, like, and then the continued, eating off of black people. We pay more tax, we pay more for everything. We pay higher rates of interest when we try to buy houses. That's subsidizing your ability to buy houses cheaper. Like all of the stuff that that systematically happens to us is to benefit white people. It's so, I think the fact that someone want to like distance himself or not have that exposed publicly, even though, I guess to some people maybe it's a secret, but I feel like it ain't no secret. We're the best thing that ever happened to them. It ain't no secret, so I don't know what you think you hiding. That's how I feel. Like, I figured I look at all of y'all, I figure your people were slaveholders. You have to prove me otherwise. And then even if they weren't slaveholders, you can't prove to me that y'all didn't benefit, because you're benefiting right now. So you can miss me with all of that. Like, y'all, what you wasting your time with that to me. Tyree Scott, founder of the United Construction Workers Association. Never even heard of the UCWA, but shout out to Baba ancestor Tyree Scott. I like people who are about organizing and working collectively. Zuckerberg apologizes for Facebook response to Myanmar conflict. Tyree, Tyree Scott. So I guess I don't know what I may split, but I think I missed that whole thing. Something about we're afraid for some reason. But next time somebody else posts something, it'll come up. Oh, I think it's something that I can do to make it come up. Like, oh, here, I think we've got this, but we're afraid for some reason. I think so. I want to know how I can add a comment. Can I add a comment here? Show, hide, chat, no. How do people, I probably can't do it on this thing because it's a tablet. But I see people like when they talking to their streams, it shows, they have the crown, but I don't know how to. I think that I think that there's like a lot of conditioning and, that we have that tells us that we're less than, that we can't handle it, that we're not good enough, that we're going to mess it up. I think it kind of like goes on. And I think whenever there is an example of something where, we can't handle it or where we mess up, I think it gets like a lot of attention. Sometimes, like when I listen to us, we were talking about the language that we use. Sometimes when I listen to us talk to one another, we're like, oh, black people can never make businesses work, or we never have businesses, or we have to. And it's like, it's actually not true. But I think somehow in our head, our the way we perceive things can, shift what we experience. Look, it's something down there that I can't even see. We have to unlearn a lot before we can even start at square one. Yeah, maybe, and maybe we could just start here and move forward, but that's interesting. I don't know, maybe because that other thing was popped up. So, and I think that we're already there. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. We are already there. And I think that those of us who have that consciousness, it's a benefit not only to ourselves personally, but to our families and our communities when we behave in that way, when we carry ourselves accordingly, when we speak the truth, and when we big up and hype, what's true. We can't wait for the sleepwalkers, right? And I don't even know if we necessarily have to gather. I feel like I'm of the mindset that like you get in action doing what what your assignment is, and like-minded people you're going to connect with like-minded people while you're in action, while you're in movement, while you're producing, while you're doing what you're assigned to do. You know what I mean? And then it's an inspiration to other people to get into, right, do what you're called to do. I'm not saying just go out here willy-nilly, but, I think sometimes also we can get, and that can be like a fear reaction too. Sometimes like, there's a balance. The universe is cueing us. There's a balance where, you want to be prepared, but at the same time, you're not going to have all of the answers. You're not going to, it's a feedback loop in motion. So if you ain't done nothing, there's nothing to evaluate. So get out there, and do something, and then evaluate it and fine tune it, and then do something else and evaluate that and fine tune it. If you're sitting around waiting, okay, let's get together. Let's, sometimes I think we'd be scared to move. And so we got to get everybody together before we can. I no longer wait for anyone's permission to do anything. Yeah, we got to get and also we got to get everybody together. We got to all be of one mind. And, sometimes I think, I might not be of the same mind, but we can move forward. Like we say in Mary Kay, you be like, well, I'm about to go to, Cleveland, but I'm going to get on the road as soon as all of the lights are green. But all of the lights are never going to be green. So just put your behind on the road. You know what I mean? Like, yes. So, and I think that's like a fear reaction. So I'll just wait till everything is, until God gives me a sign. I'm just going to wait here. Zuckerberg apologizes for Facebook's response to Myanmar conflict. What did Facebook have to do with Myanmar? I don't know, because I didn't read the article, but I've been, kind of paying a little bit of attention, not enough to really understand what the heck is going on, but a little bit of attention to, that's the sign that you're alive. Wait for Sky Daddy. What's Sky Daddy? What's Sky Daddy? Despacio YouTube music video hacked, plus other Vevo clips. So we talked about that already. Embalming fluid error kills patient in Russian hospital. They said they was trying to put saline solution in the man or the person. They put embalming fluid in the person. What kind of hospital are they running? That seemed like that shouldn't even be in the same vicinity. It seemed like the embalming fluid should be someplace where I don't know. But anyway, that was in the headline. Web standard brings password-free sign-ins to virtually any site. I do know that keeping up with these passwords is a job, and I keep them on my devices, and then don't change devices, because then you've lost all of your passwords. And then I'm like, oh, I need to write them someplace as a backup, but then you don't always consistently get everything written and backed up. And then I'm like, oh, well, I'm just going to have the same password for every site. And at first that used to work, and then the sites are like, well, we require 8 characters, and it has to have a capital, or we require 6 characters, and it has to have a capital and symbol, or we require 12 characters and has to have a number and no capital. It don't matter, and it's kind of like, then you start having all of this. It's like a job. And then some stuff, it's like, I'm trying to buy a book. Why do I need a password? That's why I don't even have an Amazon account, because they got on my nerves with that. I'm like, I'm trying to give you money and I have to go through all of this to give you money. I don't like that character requirement. Yeah. And I remember at one point I was working 2 jobs and I had passwords and I had made them both the same. And then one job was on a cycle where the password would change every 3 months or every 2 months or every month or something. And then it was like it was a mess. So I don't know how I feel about the password free, because then that means anybody could get on and do something on some things. So I don't know. I'm just like an old commercian. I'm just like, I don't like it. I have a trick for complex password. Makes it so it's very complex, but can always be remembered. That's good. Marie Colvin, Syria assassinated reporter, court told. So, she already had, I think, one eye missing because she had injured herself or been injured in Vietnam. And we were talking about, I'll do a share about it one day. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. We were talking about, yesterday we were talking about the danger. Good afternoon, Bonafide 1970. We were talking about the danger of being a reporter. The danger, let me not say danger. We were talking about when we might have used that language, but we're going to readjust that. When we choose to tell the truth that some people may not like it, and they might try to kill our body, but they can't kill our spirit, because truth is just truth. You can't kill the truth. You can't kill the truth. So, you know, sometimes when you're a truth teller, it's just, you know, that means that, you know, the challenges of being the challenges of being a reporter. So anyway, they say the article basically say they targeted her and assassinated her. They have a strategy in Syria where, you know, instead of just, I think it was Syria, where instead of just like throwing bombs or, you know, I guess dropping bombs, that they like, it's more focused. Like, I'm trying to get Angela. So like, if I drop the bomb over here and it didn't hit her, I'm going to move it over here. I'm going to keep going. So they were like, the building that the reporters were in was targeted. It's not like a random thing. It was like part of the targeting. Like, they were trying to get the truth tellers, the reporters. And she had gone into Syria. I think it was Syria, because she said she felt that the truth of what was going on needed to get out. And it's so confusing to me, because it's kind of like, when I look at the news or when I look at headlines, I'm like, that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to like get the truth. Like, I'm trying to understand what's going on. But then it seems like there's all this other layer of stuff like, well, is that true? Or is that like the corporate media trying to feed me something? Is that propaganda, or is that truth? I mean, what does it mean? How do I understand it? How do I put it in the context? And then if it's just the two of us relating, we might observe something. I might have one experience and interpretation of it, and I'm a good person. You might have a whole different experience, or a slightly different experience and interpretation of it, and you're a good person too. So even if we're not talking about like evil, you know, even if we're not talking about like, I'm deliberately trying to like, because I'm vindictive, I'm deliberately trying to twist the story and distort it. But like, even just, you know, honest, sincere people, it's like, the truth is something. Like, you know, the truth is something, you know. And then there are people who do try to, who text me? There are people, oh, sorry, my check is in the mail now. Why do I have to chase somebody down over a check? They didn't have to chase me down over doing the work. They said it was going out on Friday, last Friday, a holiday, whatever, the Friday before. So last Friday, I didn't get it. So, yeah, what's up? Oh, we'll get back to you on Monday. Okay. Today, I'm like, what's up? Who do I need to talk to? But why do I have to, see, that's more, the amount of money that I'm getting has now been diminished because I had to spend time texting you. And maybe it was just 2 minutes, but it's 2 minutes of my time that you're not compensating me for. Good to expand news options globally. I like Al Jazeera. Now, Al Jazeera comes out of Qatar, or Qatar, the white girl with the short hair calls it Qatar. White woman with the short hair. Rachel Maddow calls it Qatar. But I always thought it was Qatar. But I like Al Jazeera. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm just trying to understand the truth. And I don't know, like, it's like this attraction. There's like this attraction. The BBC tends to be pretty good about legitimate, objective, informative journalism. I don't believe in legitimate, objective, informative journalism. I used to, but I guess I just have a whole different, I don't know. I don't believe, I think that you can pretend that you're not part of the story, but you are part of the story. We're seeing things through our perspective. We're seeing things through our filter. It's like, as a reader, right? Like, when I sit down with someone, I can say, well, the cards are saying so-and-so. It's not me saying so-and-so, but I guess I've been around enough people and seen, you know, how you as the reader is part of that reading. And you can't tell me nothing else. I'm not objective. We all have a slant. We all have a perspective. Like, there's a way we see the world. But a lot of my stuff comes off of the BBC. I notice on this news feed. Now, I didn't create this news feed. This is RSS savvy on this BlackBerry. So when my BlackBerry dies, I've been trying to like start to do some preliminary research. Like, where am I going to get a news feed from? Do I need a news feed? I don't know. But I've become increasingly interested in journalism and like the context and like, you know, maybe I'll go to journalism school. I don't know. Like, it's I don't know. Because I feel like I would just be like the worst. Like, I remember one of my instructors, we were something like, I can't remember what class it was, but I was kind of like, this is told from like white people's perspective. This is like, white people coming in looking at these black and brown people and like explaining what's going on, but that's not necessarily what's going on. That's just that's their perspective. And my professor was like really upset, and I think I got like a D on that paper. And I'm like, I remember looking back on that paper years later, and I'm like, this wasn't a D paper. That person was mad at me. Anderson Cooper never went to school or finished high school. Anderson Cooper comes from a wealthy... Isn't Anderson Cooper's mother Gloria Vanderbilt, who when I was a kid, we used to wear Gloria Vanderbilt. It was like, woo! And Gloria Vanderbilt, I think she's the one who says she doesn't want follow the money. She doesn't want, big booty black girls wearing her jeans or something. I think that's her. I think that's his family. But I don't know. I'm not even a big booty black girl, but I still took offense from my fellow big booty sisters. Money talks. Yes, it does. But other things talk too. Gloria Vanderbilt's son. Yeah. I never had a butt to lose. I think now, like as I've gotten older, I think I'm like more like, but that's probably like, you get older, you get fatter, or some people do. Oh, wait a second. I bypassed it. Okay, we talked about the embalming fluid. So next time you around some people who trying to put some stuff in you, try to read it and make sure I got fatter. You got fatter and your butt got smaller? Man, I remember one time when I was working at this school for a labor union, and one of my colleagues and me, she used to pick me up. I lived in Lower Manhattan, and she lived in Upper Manhattan, and we worked in the Bronx. And she'd pick me up, and every day we would go. She started me, but we would go to McDonald's, and I would always get that fried potato. That fried potato breakfast thing, whatever it's called. And then at lunchtime, we would always go to the little cafe thing, and I would get like a croissant with cheese. And, I don't know, but croissants are like butter. So anyway, I remember one day I was at work, and all of my clothes, I've like basically had them forever. One day I was at work, and my button just popped off of one of my dresses. And it was like so perplexing to me. But I had gained weight, but I didn't know that I gained weight because sometimes we gain weight in our stomachs or I got more muscular and stocky as I got older. Sometimes, but the way I gained weight, it was like proportionate. So it was like I had gained weight all over, but I didn't realize it till I was busted out of my clothes. But I would be mad. I don't know why. Like, I don't know if I'd really be mad, but I'd be mad if I lost my butt. Because it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't really be mad. Okay. Dubai to launch digital vehicle number plates. So, like your license plate, I once saw a woman and was thinking, wow, she's got back. Then I realized she was facing me. Dun. Okay, so, so the Dubai license plate, my belly has betrayed me, but my butt is gone. I'm mad. So Dubai, the license plates, they are going to be like if you get into an accident, your license plate will send a signal saying that you was in an accident. So if you ain't got insurance, don't be getting it. But I guess Dubai is like, somebody I know is going to be coming back from Dubai. I can't wait to hear from them. But I guess Dubai, everybody has money. So it's like not like in Detroit where a lot of people be running around with no insurance. And then they get into accidents and they leave the scene of the crime because they don't want to have, any dealings with any authorities. You wrong, Yapo. He stay wrong. So it'll do that. How do you feel about women getting fake butt implants? I always thought it was a dangerous move. Yeah. I guess there's this like narrative out there, like basically, do whatever you need to do to feel good about yourself. But I guess I kind of feel like, what's confusing to me about that whole conversation is that I kind of feel like, okay, like there's this little show I watch where a little girl, there's like a little white girl, and her father, I guess, was native. But anyway, when we met her, she had blonde hair and green eyes, and we found out that her hair was dyed. It's a little girl. She was like 15, 16, 13. Her hair was dyed and she was wearing contacts. So they get hard like fake breasts. So the people were like, you should just be who you are. Your people have dark hair, you got dark hair. That's beautiful. Just be who you are. So they undyed her hair and made her take the contacts out. And they're like, give it a couple weeks for you to adjust to it. I need some, but I would never do that. There's no happy ending to butt plants. You don't need butt plants. That's everybody's body is different. So the child, I personally do not think that women should do that. People should be loved for their natural look. There's a lid for every pot. Exactly. So the girl went and dyed her hair back, and the woman is like, I told you to give it a couple weeks. She's like, I gave it a whole week, but she had given it a weekend. So to her, she felt so bad about herself that 3 days felt like forever to her. And I think sometimes we feel so bad about ourselves and we think, oh my gosh, if I got a bigger butt or a thinner nose, or, I would be beautiful. But I feel like, how do you know you be sitting on rocks if you don't have the money to have them replaced? Yeah, I don't know. But I feel like I guess I don't even like to eat weird stuff, let alone put weird stuff in my body. Like I can't imagine. But I feel like it's becoming so mainstream and so common. Like it used to be unusual. Like, oh, little rich girls got no. I feel like you have to give yourself time to develop a relationship with yourself. Like if you're 20 years old and you done all of that stuff, you don't even know yourself yet. And some of us at 40 and 50, we don't even know ourselves well. We sitting in here talking about we need butts. You don't need butts. God made you perfect, girl. You better recognize. Right, I gave myself a new rule. I will eat nothing before I will put something in my body that is not good for me. On my third day without sugar. Woo! Right. My mother always says about sugar, like sugar and food, like we're basically paying to poison ourselves. Like we're going out buying the poison, and fighting people, like mad at people if they be like, don't take the poison. You be like, you better give me my poison. Exactly, Brother Yabo. It bothers me, especially where our sisters are concerned. But I feel like it's such a big, conversation, our sense of ourself and our esteem, So, okay, so I don't think anybody, I think everybody is beautiful and fabulous. And you know what? J. California Cooper, one of my favorite short stories, she has the pot for every lid. She has this story, it's like a love story, and it's basically that. It's a little more explicit, but it's a beautiful story. It's like, you got to just be you. Be fabulous you. How God made you. The way God made you is good. Fake Black Lives Matter Facebook page removed. So we talked about that earlier. Israel probes videos of soldiers shooting Palestinian and cheering. We talked about that earlier too. Syria war, what we know about the Duma chemical attack. Now Syria is saying there hasn't been any attack and these people are faking. So I guess that's like somebody is lying. Like either, I think somebody is lying and I think somebody is like evil in this scenario. I don't think it's just like two people of goodwill seeing things differently. I think it's some evil. Guinea's pregnancy trickster jailed. So I've been seeing this story. Women want to have babies. They go to this woman. She's supposed to be a herbalist. She gives them this herb and tells them, do not go to the hospital. Their bellies get big and they look like they're pregnant, but they're not pregnant. But they end up getting sick. They end up getting sick. Well, they say, with this whole fitness thing, I used to be confused because it's like, I knew one thing was more important than the other. I was like, is it food or is it exercise? Because it's like 80% something and 20% the other, and I could never remember. But I think it's 80% or mostly overwhelmingly majority food. What we eat impacts, the condition of our body, and you can I think you can tone and tighten things up, but changing your eating is going to be, I think, mostly food. Yeah, I think it's way more significant than anything else. Not to say, that moving isn't important. So anyway, this woman in Guinea who had this pregnancy scam going, and when you see the images of the people's bellies, they look pregnant. Or to me, I mean, from the outside, and that's so anyway, she's been jailed allegedly. I don't know. I guess she's been jailed, so they found her guilty. Man whose 911 call led to Stephen Clark death speaks. Y'all know what I was trying to say, right? I was lisping or whatever, but is the saying you can't out exercise a bad diet? Oh, I haven't heard that. It's hard to trick the body because of homeostasis. It's all connected: food, hydration, physical activity, sleep, stress management, etc. Yeah, I think it is all connected. But I guess, yeah, I walk. I did my hour today. I'm not like although every time we talk about this, I say the body wants equilibrium and the body will have what it wants. I always say whenever we talk about this, I'm like, I'm gonna start running up and down the stairs, but I do move with some, but I don't run. I don't get out of breath, but I'm gonna change it. Like, I like to be out of breath. I got an exercise bike I need to start using. When I used to take exercise, like when I used to weight train especially, but even some yoga or some stuff, when you get like the soreness in the muscles, I used to love that. I never get that anymore. True, and I'm going to need to not give enough attention to sleep. Very important. Yeah. I think it's important. All of it. Like you said, it's all like connected. It's all a system. It's not, we were talking about the integration of information, and like it's all integrated. Yeah, don't stress about it. Just relax. Just be easy with it. Have fun. Enjoy it. Enjoy exploring the wonderful, delicious foods out there. And, the walk and all of that. Lifting weights is more productive than running. But when you get that soreness, like, I don't know, like the next day after a class or after a good workout, and I can feel that soreness, I used to love that. So I need to get back to that, because I used to love that. And then when I was weight training, like yesterday when I did this and I saw the little definition, it's not really much definition, but when I was weight training and my instructor, whatever. But that, when I started having that little definition, it was like, it's very exciting for me. So the man who called 911 on Stephen Clark, now the man is dead because the body will lose muscle before fat. So he feels bad. It reminded me of an episode, which I thought was like, because I think, when there is a crisis, when there is a situation, because I think he said, according to what I remember, he said he heard the person banging on the car or whatever. He went out. He's like, stop banging on the car. And the person ran away or whatever. Like, he tried to intercede, and then, the person ran away. So he called the cops. So it's sort of like, well, when you need help, who do you call? What do we do? I mean, like today. Like, theoretically, people a lot of times are like, well, we need to have a community response, system. What is our community response system? When you need help, who you call? Wow. Yeah, so I think about that because it's kind of like, I don't know who I would call. I mean, I know I have it hardwired. I'm not calling Ghostbusters. I know I personally have it hardwired, like, you won't, I don't think you'll see me. Like, I'm not really medical oriented. I don't trust them. And it may be hardwired in now where I don't, like, I feel like if something were going down in the house, I don't know if I would just like get my gun and be like, I'm going to kill somebody, or I don't know what I would do. Like, real term, like practical, like something is going down in the house right now. What am I going to do? So I don't know. I mean, I just think it's like a good, like, I think, it's good to have like a theory, like, oh, we don't need to call the cops, but, women have to, I can't understand that. Women have to maintain. I dropped y'all, sorry. But real deal, who do we call? And there was an episode of what was that TV show? The Children in College, I think it was. Sleep deprivation had me in a state of neurosis. The show about the children in college. Dang, I can't remember, but they had made a movie about it, and it was like a I reviewed it. I can't even remember what it was, but there was like an episode where there was a fight. I think people should be prepared for any eventuality because there's no telling how long it would take for the police to arrive. Yeah. Um, and then if I don't call the police and I just hold and I shoot somebody, and they're like, "Well, did you call the police?" And I'd be like, "Nah, I just shot them." Like in the aftermath, in the practical aftermath of what happens. So in this little TV show, there was like a party, and for black folk, calling the police could go sideways and often does. But like, what do you like? So let's say somebody comes in the house and I don't call the police and I shoot them and I kill them. And then now there's a dead person in the house. So then when the cops come, because my neighbors are going to call the cop because they like, I just heard shooting over there at, and then the cops come in and I'm like, do I abandon my house? Do I go on the run? Like practically what happens? I don't really have a plan. I don't really have a strategy. So in the show, there was like a party and a fight broke out and a guy called the campus police. And then when the police came, they went after the black guy, not the white guy. And it was like this big thing that could have led to somebody being killed. And the white guy was like, I was just calling the police. Do you shoot to kill for breaking in your car? Nah. Use a crossbow. No noise factor. Okay, I barely know how to use a gun. I don't know how to use a crossbow. Right, but I don't know if you're familiar with, there was a woman, I think she was here in Michigan, and her ex came into the house. They had an acrimonious relationship. She shot up in the air like a warning shot. And, it's supposed to be, it might not have been here. It might have been in Florida. It's supposed to be a stand your ground state. But that woman went to jail, if I'm not mistaken, for shooting up into she did not even shoot him. She shot up into the air like a warning shot. Like, I got my gun and it's loaded and I'm going to get you, Florida. So, it's kind of like we can talk all of the like, well, theoretically, if they came into my house, then they wanted to be shot. But when you're a black woman and you shoot somebody, or a black man and you shoot somebody, all of those theoreticals, you're going to end up in, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, how does it really work practically and pragmatically 2018 in the United States of America? I mean, I'm just wondering. I don't know. I mean, I know what I see in the news. Right after they right. So, it's sort of like, I don't think that it's like I don't think it's like oh, well, we're just effed up. It's nothing we can do about it except for just, suck it up and just, I think we need to talk about it. We need to be creative. We need to come up with plans. We need to explore different things. We need to like have a simulation. We need to have some strategies. We need to analyze what's really going on and develop a plan in the context of what's really going on. Marissa Alexander, you heard it was overturned. Okay. And at 15. And police know that. But what do we know and what are we doing and what can we do? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to understand. Because I feel like I'm looking at other people's stories and I feel like, well, that could be me. What would I do if I was in that situation? She did jail time too. Right. While they were waiting to make the decision and all of that stuff. And it was like, she got free, but she could have not gotten free. To me, it wasn't no clear, obvious thing. His friend committed the robbery. They were in a robbery type situation, supposedly, according to the situation. And so they're saying that young man was an accomplice to the crime that caused the cop to an accomplice to the crime that caused the cop to kill the person. That's why they're holding that child responsible for it, or say they hold them responsible. They hold them responsible because they can, and they're terrorizing us and harassing us and trying to create, they're advancing their shock and awe campaign. Because it's like, it's shocking, it's upsetting, we mad. But I feel like we gotta, think through it, I mean, I'm a Cancer. I believe in feelings. I really, really do. But I think we just got to do some analysis beyond just feeling mad and feeling upset and feeling like victimized. And, you know, Claude Anderson has come to Detroit, and like I know he was trying to do like I think it was Claude Anderson. He was trying to do like a fishery here. I mean, I think it's all important. I think all of the voices are an important part of the conversation. And I don't know if any one of us has all of the answers, or, I don't know. And Chicago's not that far. It's like 5-hour drive. Maybe I go to Chicago and hear Claude Anderson. But I doubt it. But I don't know. Maybe I will. Let's see what the spirit tell me. So he feel bad about the guy getting killed because he called 911. How white man ran biggest Black Lives Matter Facebook page. After DJ Khaled poured vodka on cereal, the internet had thoughts. Okay. So the man poured vodka over his cereal. I always think of cereal with milk, although when I was making, at different times, I remember people pouring juice over cereal and stuff. But he poured vodka over his cereal, and the people are like, children look up to you. They're going to think they should be pouring vodka over their cereal. What you doing and why? I don't really know very much about him, but he doesn't seem... I mean, isn't he the one who got his top down on his Bugatti? Now, I think he's the one that always carries his baby boy with him, which I kind of think is really interesting, and I like that aspect. But he don't really seem like, what is he about anything? To some people, I don't know. What's he about? Who's paying attention to DJ Khaled? What he doing? The cheering? Okay. Is Drake making amends to Black women with his new video? Nice for what? I haven't seen it. I know Drake has this reputation for people being like, oh, they love Drake. He's a Palestinian from New Orleans. Who's a Palestinian from New Orleans? Drake? DJ Khaled. Oh, DJ Khaled. Oh. I'm not really so familiar with Drake's music, and I know it's supposed to be like, oh, college educated Black women love Drake or something like that. I think it's probably a generational thing. I don't know. I'm not really, or, cultural. I wasn't deep enough in the hip hop so I don't know. But, I thought it was an interesting, I skimmed the article, just, the ways in which, and I think I always, when I talk to women, the ways in which men will say one thing and do something different. And they were like, Drake, basically is good for saying, the things that will, charm you out of your tennis rackets. I guess he dated Serena Williams or something. And then he'd be doing some, he out with the stripper getting her pregnant, or whatever. Drake likes white and Hispanic girls, right? Didn't want to have his baby. I think one of the strippers, now his mom is white, right? I always figure this, I don't know if it's, but if I look at a man's mom, if he had a white mother and he's attracted to white women, I'm like, that seems relatively sane to me. If I look at a man and he has a Black mama, like a dark-skinned Black mama, and all of the people he's dealing with don't look nothing like his mama, it make me wonder, his mama, his people, his cousins, I'd be like, well, how did, almond milk, cinnamon, and nutmeg. That's what I like. I like to put, I used to get, I used to get this soy milk, and then my husband would make me a seed nut milk with dates and stuff in it, and seeds and nuts, and it was good. It's to me, the milk on your cereal is it's not even a real thing. I mean, it's a real thing, but it's so many different flavor profiles that'll work. It's not it's a delicate balance. You have to get a soup, soup or salad. Just throw a smoothie, throw the stuff in there. If the smoothie is sweet enough, it tastes good. If your dressing is good on, salt. Salt your soup is gonna taste good. You get some aromatics in there. You know, it's no like, you have to have 1 cup of string beans. It's just not like that. I don't believe. And that's how I am with cereal, milk. From eating dry cereal, his mouth was tore up. So anyway, I don't know what Drake is doing. He spent 6 years in prison after police framed him for murder. Now he'll receive a $10 million settlement. Soy products aren't good for you. They mess with the hormones. Yeah, I stay away from soy. You know, I used to deal with soy, but not much. Even when I became a vegetarian, I never really got into tofu because I was like, ew, what is it? I'm not. But you know, and then a lot of these like mainstream products that you get out of the store, I don't do a lot of processed foods, period. But I don't know if I do any soy. They say just the opposite though about soy. Yeah, but they use the soy as like a cleanup crop. A lot of these agricultural corporations, like I just stay, you know, if I do soy is organic, but I can't think of anything I buy that has soy. And I don't even do almond milk. I just get almonds or seeds and just blend them up with the water. I don't do a lot of it's just as easy for me to process it as home as to have something that's been sitting. You know, I don't know. And then almonds, I'm kind of suspicious of almonds because that's one of those crops that they take the bees, you know, following in behind almond crops, and it's like a mainstream crop like peanuts. And so it's like, you know, I'm always kind of suspicious of, you know, the things that you can get like in the gas station. Like, you know, when it's so mainstream that it's like that, I'm kind of like, ooh, it's a big agricultural production. And I try to stay away from as much as I can stuff that's part of that. But yeah, I was kind of suspicious when he was first making milk for me. Like, what is this going to taste like? But it was good. I mean, you know, it's like, that's what I'm saying. I can't hardly mess it up for me. Yeah, I don't know if I do it. Well, I do cheese on occasion, but not even that much. I don't do much butter. I'm not vegan, but I don't do a lot of animal products, but I can't drink milk. You know, when I stopped, you know, milk, I couldn't get back into it. He spent we didn't talk about it, but he spent 6 years in prison and he got a $10 million settlement. So I wonder what his 6 years in prison were like. And I wonder if he feels like $10 million makes up for it. I'm sure that $10 million is better than having. Ooh, now I never got into celery and peanut butter. I can eat celery with some salt. I have celery in my, you know, on my list this week. You know, or in my refrigerator this week, and I just been eating it with salt or putting it in soup or whatever, just a little bit of salt or just plain. But I never got into it with peanut butter. I just used the last of my peanut butter on my steel cut oats this morning that I had with bananas and dates. Okay. So I don't know how the 6 years in prison, like if he feels like, I'm sure he feels like $10 million is better than no $1 million. But I wonder if he feels like, yeah, you know, like I feel like I've done work before. And then when you get the money, you be like, okay, that's cool. And then sometimes you do the work and you get the money and you be like, this don't even add up at all. This wasn't worth nothing. I'll never go back and do that again. You know, so I don't know if he feels like, okay, 6 years in prison, what I experienced, $10 million. Okay. They serve it to children in daycare a lot. That's what got me started eating it. Moving on. You spend a lot of time with children in daycare. So I don't know who this person is, but I guess 10 million, 6 years seems on the lower side to me. Although I feel like it don't take long for somebody to violate you. Too perfect. Celery and tahini. When I would take my children. Oh, now tahini, I'm like weird with garlic. So tahini, I'm kind of like, I never really got into a tahini habit. It may calm me down. Okay. Meditating every day has done wonders for my anxiety. Sonia sees. Here's why you should try it too. I don't have an active meditation practice now, but I have had a meditation practice. The most that I've done is an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening, but I don't have any practice now hardly worth mentioning. Sometimes when I think about it, I'll do, like 15 minutes in the morning, or, just when I think about it. Hey, Andres, how are you doing? How are you doing? I was just about to think about your accident yesterday. And when I'm in a stressful situation and I, breathe in and breathe out and, but does anybody here have a meditation practice? I know people seem to have some good wholesome eating habits. Does anyone have like a meditation practice? Are you part of a meditation community? I am, I guess, technically part of a meditation community, although I don't commune with anyone in that community anymore, just because I moved around and lost touch with people, not because it was anything, against them. But what was exciting to me when I first started meditating, that hour in the morning, hour in the evening, we did an hour sitting a week when I could find a community to sit with. And then once a year, theoretically, you do a 10-day course. And I've assisted with what we call serve the 10-day course. And I've also sat 10-day courses after I did. I also like thunder. Oh, sounds of rain to relax, and thunder. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like the, I like the rain, but I had one tape that had like insects. It was supposed to be like a rainforest. And I always felt like, is there a bug in here? Like it was like the opposite of relaxing to me. But, when I started paying attention to other forms and other systems, I remember coming across studies that were saying that even, just 5 minutes of, silence, nothing structured, just, taking 5 minutes, looking at a bird. Oh, I love like a fireplace, like, the fire and like keeping the fire going. I meditate whenever I think to do so, but it's a random thing, no specific schedule, just when the spirit moves me. So I think it's important. It is important. I think it's important to, as it reaches our consciousness, but I think it also begins to reach our consciousness more when we have a practice. I do Tai Chi in the morning. Did you see that man who was doing Tai Chi on my Facebook page? Did you see that? Oh, that Chinese man, he was standing up with all that balance. I can barely lift my leg off the ground without, I was like, that is amazing. But I think he was a Tai Chi master. I was trying to learn Tai Chi, but I didn't get very far with it. I've done yoga. But yeah. But I think that the practice is important. So, even if it's 5 minutes in the morning, I'll try to remember to tag you in it. Even if it's like 5 minutes in the morning and or 5 minutes in the evening, like the practice, like there's something about practice, which, I have found is part of the cycle of meditation. So that, when you show up for the practice, day in, day out, or week in, week out, whatever, as you've committed, that there's a benefit to, not just when it's sort of like if you're a writer and different people have different practices, but, if you show up to, whether you feel like it or not, there's like a productiveness and there's there's a payback that you get that, yeah, I was just learning like basic poses and it didn't feel like yoga to me at all. Now when I first started studying yoga, I haven't, but the first couple classes I had, it was like from pose to pose to pose to pose. And then there was one, studio, I can't think of it, but there was one studio in New York where it was like moving yoga, and they had this morning class. It was like early in the morning, and I'd always be resistant. Illegal in China? No, I hadn't heard that. But there was this one class, and it was like every morning, it was like 6 in the morning. I'd be like, but then after I left the class, it was like, oh, but it was a moving class. So you would do like a sun salutation, like, or other things, but like just continuous motion. And that reminds me more of Tai Chi than any other practice, any other yoga practice that I have had. So anyway, just exploring, the conversation, inviting you to, commit to when I wake up in the morning. I read someplace the other day, it was like when you wake up in the morning, drink some water, stretch. I usually pray, write, I used to have a good thing where I prayed, wrote, and then did my meditation, all in that first hour or two of the day. Mm-hmm. It is, well, I don't want to say it's a threat, but I feel like, when people have a connection and are grounded in a certain way, it can undermine, some BS. Yeah. Yep. There's so much discipline. And I feel like as people, we need, that discipline, I think is very, very important for us. And I think that, I will start praying too, then right. Yeah. And I had a hard time when I was trying to develop a prayer practice. It was like very confusing to me. I remember at one church I used to go to, they would have prayer buddies. Like you could go after service and the people would pray with you. And I'd be like, like watching with my eye, like how they do that, what they, and it was like just the idea of talking to God. I don't know how to explain it. Actually, I think that after this last marriage, I have a whole different take on God than I did before. Like it's like unconditional love. There's something that I understand now that I don't think I had the maturity to understand before in terms of my relationship with God, because I hadn't lived enough. But, so what I started doing when I had that good morning routine, see, maybe I'll start it again, is I would set my timer for 15 minutes and I would talk out loud to God. Like, that book, maybe some of the women have read it, but Are You There, God? It's me, Margaret. But I'd be like, good morning, sunshine. Good morning, God. Good morning, daytime. It just like, and it was like, if I didn't do it out loud, I had to do it in order to keep going, because I would just drift off into. So that worked good for me. And then I do my morning pages, like 15 minutes or three pages of writing. Different times I've done different things. And then my meditation. So yeah. Yes, tomorrow. Or I don't know, maybe not. But anyway, yeah, that discipline, I feel like that practice and discipline are connected. And the same thing with eating. Like I remember, like when you're like, okay, I'm 3 days off of sugar. A lot of people say that 3 days is like a critical day in terms of like fasting and like shifting, things, with how we eat and, related to our body. I would notice a lot of times when I was about to go on a cleanse that on like day one of the cleanse, I'd have a bad headache. And I think it's because my mind knew I'm about to be 10 days on a cleanse. And so I would make myself sick, because I'm like, how come everybody else have their crisis on day 3? How does my body even know anything is going on day 1? But the discipline of having regular cleanses, and the discipline of well, just because I want it, I'm gonna instead of saying I want it, I'm gonna eat it, of being like, okay, well, maybe I want it, but maybe that's not the best thing for me, so maybe I'm gonna choose something else. I'm gonna abstain. Just that sobriety, and that it builds discipline, it builds, consciousness, and it's like all of those things translate, it's like where they can translate. So the discipline that we build in this area may be useful in this area later on. And, the muscle we've developed over here, we may be able to transfer that into some other areas. Like, I feel like our discipline is really, really important for us as a people. And, when you look at things like, like understanding like, well, how did the Haitian, well, I looked up wars, because I'm like, the Haitian war was like, it feels more and more natural. Now, my cleanses, definitely over the years, they felt more and more natural. My water drinking, I don't know if it's gotten easier with time. Looking at beautiful scenery is really inspirational. But when I thought about the Haitian Revolution, I'm like, 10, 11 years, that's so long. And then when I Googled it, and I don't know, but Google is like the average war lasts 10 years. I'm like, oh, so it's not that long? That's just like average? When I can hear my body, heartbeat, breathing, and so on. When I get a sugar craving, I allow my mind to go 30 seconds. Yeah. And that's how it is. Like when, that's what I found my cleansing, my, practice to be like. Like it would be like things that I, like it would feel so intense. Like, in other words, I just project ahead and then, I don't know what you said, but it would be so intense, and then it would dissipate. Like even in my meditation practice, like if I'm sitting and it's like, oh my gosh, I have an itch on my arm, but I'm in stillness, I'm not scratching. But I'm like, it's getting bigger, it's getting bigger, it's getting so big. I have to scratch this itch because my arm is going to explode if I don't scratch it. And then it would just like go away. Like, oh, my arm's not going to explode because I didn't scratch it. Oh, I'm not going to die because I didn't eat a candy bar. And then I also noticed I would crave things that I didn't even eat. Like, you know, I don't eat fast food, but when I'm like on a cleanse, I'm like, Burger King. But that's also, I noticed, that's TV and commercials. Like, it's a lot of stuff that, you know, you don't even notice is going on with your consciousness until you know, withdraw. And that's that meditation practice. But I feel like the discipline of, you know, how do we practically, like as a people, how do we get out of this mess that we're in? And how do we get out of this mess without, you know, sometimes I notice like when I'm around Black folks, you know, we're eating chicken, we're drinking, you know, even people who have a certain type of consciousness and who talk a good political game, you know, like, do we have the real, you know, spiritual, emotional discipline and wherewithal to, do we have the, you know, how do we develop, you know, the discipline to be able to sustain anything? How do we develop the sobriety to be able to analyze anything? You know, like to like actually understand what's going on when we like, you know, and the stevia plant. I bought one to use, but I never used it. But people talk about that too. I like dates. How to lose weight if you're addicted to food, according to cognitive scientists, a cognitive scientist who struggled with it for years. Now, what they seemed like they were talking about to me was like the weight. I can't. It's like a 12-step program for losing weight. Yeah, you retrain your taste buds, and it actually, I think it happens quicker than you think it's going to happen. When you actually, you know, like. Now, some things like white rice, I think I was like 6 years in before I actually lost the taste for it. Like the last time I ate white rice, I'm like, oh, but the day before I ate it, I was like, ooh, white rice. And I could like taste it in my head and it tasted good. And then when I you know, went back to it, I was like, oh, it don't taste like it tasted in my head. I'm not interested. But yeah, you can retrain your your taste buds. Yep. I've heard 21 days to develop a habit. I've heard 28 days to develop a habit. I've heard 90 days to develop a habit. I guess my theory is that different habits, you know, it's like seeds. Like some things grow, you know, like sprouts. You can grow them, you know, almost in 2 days, 3 days. And some stuff it takes longer to grow. But yeah, you know, I think that 21, 3, 4 weeks is a good target for many, many things. So there's like a 12-step program, but for people who eat. And my understanding is that they tell them, you know, that sugar is connected. Your craving for sugar. Your craving for sugar is stimulated and attached to your, like all of the refined stuff, like the refined white flours, the refined white rice, the white potatoes, all of that stuff stimulates your craving for sugar. So if you eat, you know, you can't really do it in moderation. This article is saying if you eat, you know, even a little bit, it's going to open you up to all of the other stuff. I used to eat eggs and bread every day. Aya Sissoko, Aya Sakako, boxer and author on feminism and fighting back. Ooh, I like somebody who fights back. Sometimes it's good to fight back. Sometimes it's good to just remove yourself from the situation. Fake Black Lives Matter page on Facebook eclipsed the real thing. It was bigger than the real one. Man hospitalized with excruciating thunderclap headaches after eating the world's hottest pepper. They say that the if it's white, it ain't right. Yep. If it ends in ATE, do not eat. EAT. That's the other rule. And watermelon, eat it alone or leave it alone. Do I have any other rules? I probably have some other rules. So he ate a hot pepper and he was having thunderclap headaches. And they say that usually the thunderclap headaches are like like a aneurysm or something like that, like something is going on in your brain. And I don't know if the spiciness, is doing something to his system, but I wasn't really familiar with a thunderclap headache. I've gotten headaches before in the past. I used to have more than I get, we've talked about that. I don't get them very often now, but I used to get them all the time, but not thunderclap. Mother blamed for toddler's death after managing to save only one of her kids from deadly apartment fire. No sympathy for him if he knew him. Black woman fights to get apology for Chicago teens wrongfully banned from mall. Sinclair TV host quits after tweeting desire to sexually assault Parkland teen activist David Hogg. Oh, if he knew. I don't think he knew. I think people think with these hot peppers like, ooh, we were talking about things that people think is funny or fun or interesting. Nature screams at us that white ain't right, so funny. Right. I feel like somebody has done a good advertising campaign, that we have to like unlearn some stuff that's, because it's like, oh, white is the driven stone. Oh, white. Oh, I remember when I first started eating brown rice and I tried to get white rice. I mean, when I first started eating brown rice and I tried to get brown rice, and the people at the restaurants would be like, brown rice. And one of my husband's Asian friends is like, white people can keep their apologies. I try to stay away from, I do sweet potatoes. And I just try to stay, I'd have to look at your whole diet and understand like what flavor profile, like what's going on. I can't, but yeah, I love brown rice, but I even it's been like, since y'all may know, but I'm on this thing where I'm focusing on 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day, and it's like I'm noticing I'm a lentil girl in a rice, but I feel like I don't even have time for that because I'm so busy trying to get the vegetables in. Like the other day I made my normal soup and I'm like, wait a second, I can't have anything other in here other than vegetables because I got to get my avocado. I like wild rice, but it's so expensive I hardly ever buy it, but I like the texture of it. It's not a rice, I understand. I don't know really what it is, but technically it's not a rice. But I have it in a brown rice mix upstairs now. But I love it, just in and of itself. And it's good, like for people who are raw, that's something that I think you can like actually soak and get the, I've never had black rice. I haven't had it yet. I've never had an avocado in my life, me either. Black rice is even better. Yeah. I got some, it was called forbidden rice when I got it, but I was like, I'm a nervous eater. This was like 20 years ago I got it, and I'm like, I'm going to eat it, but I was afraid to eat it, so it ended up getting thrown away. But I don't even know I can't imagine, what it tastes like. Even if it has a different taste. Alligator pear. So I think, these people get into these hot pepper things like, I can eat something hotter than you can eat. I guess people are bored, or I don't know but anyway, I feel bad for him because I'm like, did he think he was going to die from eating the pepper? I don't know. When I think like people who like do stuff like skydiving or rappelling or whatever it's called, I'm like, who would do that? But I did a ropes course once and I had to like jump from point A to point B, and it was like really exhilarating. It was really exhilarating. And then it was kind of like, oh, so maybe it's really exhilarating to go to a little honey will help with the flavor. For years, I grew up, here in Detroit, tabbouleh is a big thing, like parsley salad. And I would not eat tabbouleh. I was past grown and had been a vegetarian for 89 million years before I ever tried tabbouleh. I love tabbouleh. And I've fallen in love with parsley as a result of tabbouleh. I need to get some parsley. I haven't. Yeah, now that I'm like doing better. But it's like when I started drinking water, like focusing on how much water I drank, I didn't have time, certainly not to drink juice or soda, but it's like I got to drink this water. I'm on this water treadmill, and now it's like I'm on this fruit and vegetable treadmill. So it's like I'm almost, it's like, I don't know, I love it. I'm enjoying it. So I haven't been, all of the grains and stuff. Fulfilling but very meaty. So now this guy, he tweeted, and these are the things that are confusing to me. Like, I'm kind of confused, like, when you hear about people being lynched and they're like, after they lynch the person, this might get graphic, how to get fruits and veggies to last longer. Eat them. Well, but when I did that ropes course, it was like when I finished my thesis, when I was graduating from college, and I was like, I just wrote a book. It was like I had this feeling like I could do anything. And when I did that ropes course, it was like I was afraid to jump from point A to point B. And then when I did it, I was like, roar, I could do anything, And so I think that it made me realize that, like, maybe like when you do stuff like, jumping from an airplane or whatever, maybe afterwards, it's like if you ride on a roller coaster, like there used to be this thing at Cedar Point called the Demon Drop. And I remember I went on the Demon Drop when I was in high school, and it was like right when I was like at the top of it, I was like, why am I up here? This is scary. I don't want to be here. It was too late. I was already at the top, and then just dropped down. But then afterwards, it was like, I was so excited. Now, I didn't go get on it again, probably because it was too crowded, or, but it's like, so I might, I don't know. Like, I mean, it took a lot, like writing my thesis took like a whole year. But like doing the ropes course, it probably took me about 5 or 10 minutes to get up the nerve. So it's like 5 or 10 minutes. Adrenaline addiction. 5 or 10 minutes or a whole year? 5 or 10 minutes. Let's go. I haven't done it again. See, yes, the adrenaline. I didn't really think about it like that. They have to create thrills. Wow. I got kind of excited. But now that I think about it as like adrenaline addiction, it doesn't sound as exciting, but okay. So this is okay. So when I hear about, okay, they say this man raped this woman or whatever, that we know that's not the story the majority of the time, but and then they strung him up by his neck, and then they cut off his penis and put it in his mouth. The part where you cut off somebody's penis and put it in their mouth is always kind of confusing to me. And like, it's a whole group of us, a group of men, and we're like, yeah, let's cut off his penis. Like, it just seems so like confusing to me. Like, how does that dynamic happen? It's like, it just seems like it would, like someone would be like, why are we cutting off his, like, it seems very, very weird to me. And when I read this text from this guy, it kind of gave me that same feeling. Or this tweet, he said, oh no, that's somebody else's tweet. He said, when we kick their ass, they all like to claim we're drunk. I've been hanging out getting ready to ram a hot poker up this person's butt tomorrow, ass tomorrow, busy working, preparing. So it kind of reminded me, I don't know if it was Amadou Diallo, but somewhere where I was at some point when I was in New York, there was someone who the police had gotten this man, and when they arrested him, they raped him with a broom or something like that, like, or I don't know. But I just like this group, exactly, just getting out of bed in America is an extreme sport. This group rape, or like this conversation about like, they're obsessed with object. Like, it's just confusing to me. So like when I read that tweet, the headline didn't exactly fit the tweet, but just the idea, like, why would you... it's very confusing to me, but it brought back to me like that idea, or those practices of like, it seems like an obsession, not only with like a butt, but like with Abner Louima. It was a plunger, and that was back in 98, I think. He goes to the whole fear of genetic annihilation. They are obsessed with the black man's genitals and emasculating black men. So I don't know if this David Hogg person is black, but like, yeah, it just seems like, and it also seems like you're showing your insecurity. You're showing your sickness. Like, it seems like you're exposing yourself. Yeah, like it just, I don't know. Like, it's just, it always confuses me. Like, someone would say that out loud. Someone would do that in a group context. Like, so anyway, the TV show host quit after that. Two Canada Humboldt Bronco ice hockey crash victims misidentified. So these are the 14 children who were on the hockey team or whatever, who they they made their transition. It was like a bunch of kids from the same community. But there have been pictures published of one who is still alive, and they published his picture saying he made his transition. And one who has made his transition, they published his picture saying that he is a survivor. And I guess his family probably knows the difference, but it just seems kind of like, I don't know. I mean, people are entitled to make mistakes, but it seems like an awful sloppy thing. Like, can't we check and double check so that stuff like that doesn't happen? And I know, things will happen, but I'm just like, that's awful. I've never heard of eating horse boo-boo off the street as part of a celebration. I must have misread you. The battle continues. In 1988, the NAACP led an unsuccessful protest to bring down the Confederate flag. I like that because it puts it, and they were trying to climb up the pole. Remember, a few years ago, we had the image of the woman who I follow on Twitter. I think that's her, who climbed up the pole and pulled down the flag in maybe even where Mother Emanuel Church is. I'm not exactly sure. But I like the fact that it's put into context. That's sick. I like the fact that it's put into a broader context of, she's not the first person who has done that. Oh, yeah, that's weird. And like, yeah, why? It's like it's a cultural, like, I guess it's a cultural thing, or like I don't understand, like, all of that. Like, that's like, I guess if you want to eat boo-boo privately, I guess, but like, who would, like, it's just like, we're doing this in public and we're proud of it and we're cheering the crowd on. Yeah, yeah. How different generations would invest $10,000. So they had millennials, like they had, probably like 4 generations, up to baby boomers. I think millennials, baby boomers, and 2 or 3 in between. I think it's just 2 in between. But it just made me, I just wanted to like throw out there, like, how would you invest $10,000? I think some people were investing, the baby boomers were heavier on cleaning up old debt. And, but even the young people were cleaning up debt. And I think it's so expensive to go to school now that I imagine a lot of them have debt that, other people didn't have. Like, it's expensive to go to school. There's less money to go to school. There's more loans to go to school. But anyway, how would you spend? How would you invest? What would you do with $10,000? Would you start a business? What kind of business would you start? What would I do? Oh, I'd probably travel. Dang, this daggone travel bug. What's it? Something I got where I would just travel. It's not the worst, it's the best, but it's yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'd invest in something that would allow me to travel more uninterrupted. So like in some business, I'd be trying to figure out some business I could like invest in that would support me continuously being able to travel and never having to stop and work, just travel. Or work while I'm traveling. But I don't know what business that would be. What business would it be? The Lakers are signing a 32-year-old who has spent 10 years in the G League. to play in his first ever NBA games. He says that he had the opportunity to go overseas, but he wanted to stay here so that he could be in the NBA. I don't know what this G League is, but we were talking about the children in college and the NCAA and, you know, another track that was an option other than going into college basketball. And so I'm like, is it the G League? I never heard of the G League. But anyway, it seems like since not too long ago we were talking about the NCAA, I'm like, maybe this is connected. I don't know. Okay. But anyway, I don't know who the 32-year-old is. And 32 seems relatively old in athletic years. I mean, it's not old in the real world, but like a 32-year-old athlete? Lord, don't tell me it's a gay league. Maybe it's gay like they happy. You not here for happiness? No, I don't think it's a gay league. I think it's like how they have Major League Baseball and they have Minor League Baseball. That's what I suspected it is, like some kind of minor league that might feed into the NBA, but not very often. Because he's 32 years old. We ain't never heard of it before. I don't know much about sports. Howard University students end week-long protests, makes deal with administration. So what deal did they make? An open letter to Facebook from the Data for Black Lives movement. Wealthy people are moving into wealthy cities and out of poorer ones. They like Detroit. We leaving Detroit. We going to San Francisco. The average home, you got to have at least $300 to get into the San Fran. That's where we going. We want to be around people like us. That's what the wealthy people are saying. Now, that's something when we think about like integration and how it impacted the Black community, there was much more economic integration among Black people. So you could, you know, you had people of all different economic and educational and professional, you know, leanings all in the same community together, whereas San Francisco will explode. Whereas, you know, with integration, people who could left, and so you know you only had people left behind who couldn't leave, and so you know it's sort of like like the ecosystem is weird. It's not like all poor being moved out of San Francisco. So it sounds like that kind of thing. Like I guess the 1% are increasingly isolating themselves from the rest of us. I was going to say as well they should. I was thinking about this, the plot to kill King. One of the things that the person said is that there was a concern that with Martin Luther King doing the Poor People's March and bringing 500,000 or 1 million people to Washington to demand certain things from Congress, which they were not going to get. The concern was that the people were going to revolt. There was going to be a revolution on the street. Homelessness is off the charts in San Francisco. Yeah, because if you're not upper middle class or whatever you call it, lower or upper class, where you gonna live, what you gonna do? I've been reading like that's been coming across my newsfeed a lot, San Francisco stuff. That's why I use that as an example. Yeah, I don't even remember what I was saying, but blah blah blah. Okay, because we 2 hours in. I got to go. I got stuff. One chart shows how much more men make than women in 25 major cities. Tenderloin is scary. At the same time, massive gentrification is taking place, rendering affordable areas into wealthy areas. So they might be both isolating themselves and I couldn't catch the last part. Amazon Studios names Albert Ching, co-head of television, restructure scripted development team. Backpage executives have been charged with 93 count federal indictment that alleges conspiracy to facilitate prostitution and money laundering. I think just like the people on Facebook said, it's whatever goes to make money. I think a lot of these corporations and businesses are like that. Like they don't have like a moral code or, it's like their only code is if I can make money, I'm cool. If a child or children or whatever get raped and sold into prostitution, what do I care? I made money. You see this money here? So I think that's their, a lot of people, that's their only code, that's their only guidance, can they make money? Will Facebook survive? It's so corrupt. I told you I'm leaving. When my show ends, I think I'm like I'm done. I don't think that Facebook is more corrupt than any other company. I think we're just getting more. It might be more corrupt than another company, but I think it's on a continuum. So if they are the most corrupt company out there, I don't think that, other companies, I'm about to put my charger on. I don't think that other companies are any better, really. Zuckerberg is corrupt and guilty in people's names who we don't know. They're corrupt and guilty too. We just happen to know his name and know his company and be familiar with it. We happen to use his product, You don't think they're the most corrupt, just the biggest, so they get the most press. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we got. That's it for my notes on the news. Sorry, the check is in the mail now. Okay. I probably have like a poor attitude or something, because this kind of stuff, I really feel like there's some things that I would like to say. I'm not going to say them. I said them to you. I vented a little bit, but now I'm looking at the text again. And I just... Look, I was going to try to catch up on today's daily word. You're on other social media. You're on you're on, what is this? Facebook? Is this, no, what is this? YouTube? You think YouTube is better? They may know what I think at the moment, but my thoughts are constantly evolving. And I had to decide. I keep saying this, that, so what? Whoever takes a stick to beings desiring ease, when one is looking for ease, will meet with no ease after death. So if you beat up people who are just trying to, here the poor people are trying to just get some comfort, especially since Google took them over. Whoever doesn't take a stick to beings desiring ease, when one is looking for ease, will be met with ease after death. So it's basically saying what you put out there is what you get. So go out into the world and be kind to other people. Be kind to yourself in your choices and your thoughts and how you move in the world. Try to be a living, breathing example of what your value system is. Continue to grow and evolve in your values and your beliefs. I think we're all bad. Oh, they're all bad. By just in varying degrees. Yeah. So what's new and good? Oh, I didn't tell y'all. I forgot to text myself what I ate yesterday. So I made vegetable soup again. That had 3 servings of vegetables, and I had a grapefruit. Today I had steel cut oats. I had 3 bananas left over from last week that were going bad. And I was going to put them in the freezer to make smoothie, but I just decided to put them in my oatmeal. And then I put 12 dates in there. So theoretically, I've had all of my servings. They seem to be all right so far, but I don't have it's not in my budget to spend $10 a month for. I haven't been consuming on Black Space or Black Junction TV. I wanted to put content up. But I haven't. I got kind of freaked out by the cost. A banana, celery, peanut butter, and pretzels. So I count a banana, celery. So I think that they need to get live stream soon. I think that I decided that, or read someplace, that 2 pieces of celery is a serving. So I always, since I'm gonna probably go upstairs and eat 2 now, I try to eat 2 at a time. Like with my carrots, I try to eat 2 at a time. So that's good. In 3 days, I don't even like to say the S word. Black Junction TV is free of charge. Not when I tried to upload. I tried to upload on both. One of them, whichever one, I think somebody had told me about one of them. And when I tried to upload, they were like, you've exceeded your limit of things. I'm like, I've never loaded anything up. And then when I researched it, it's like, If you want to add content, it's $10 a month. I have to top you. Try it with some peanut butter. I just used up the last of my peanut butter in my oatmeal. But I like it. I'm a challenged eater. I can't even imagine that tasting good. So that's just been my experience. I tried to ask around to see, and I think one of them, I can't remember. Because now they're conflated in my head because they both seem to have the same system of basically $10 a month. And I think it was Angel. Everybody Hates Angel, or I Know What You're Thinking, or something. It's this, I was listening to his live stream yesterday. I don't even follow him, but I was listening to him on YouTube. I think I follow him on Twitter, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going live," and I've been studying these lives. But he was saying that, he doesn't have one or the other, but he's downloaded the apps. I have both apps downloaded, but he was talking about the $10 a month. Do you have content uploaded? How do I upload content for free? And then one of them, I went on Facebook to YouTube to their page, and I wrote a comment, and I'm like, so do content creators have to pay? When I was trying to figure out what was going on, do I have to pay $10 a month? And they came back 2 weeks later, and they hearted my comment, but they never responded to it. So I guess that's like, yes, we'd love for you to pay $10 a month. So, I had said that I'm going to work on, and it's not like even in my 3-month plan, but I'm going to work on a sponsorship thing so that, because I think in theory, I like the idea of Black Junction TV and Black Spot TV. And I don't even know really the difference between the two of them yet. Oh, okay. Yeah, I probably need to go over there. And then it was like just getting used to the interface too. It is, I kind of have to push through I'm naturally resistant. Like if I'm used to something and then it's something new, I'm like, oh no, I hate it. So I have to push through and play around with it and get used to it. Cause once I couldn't upload, I was just like, but I need to get, I'm gonna get me some sponsors. Cause I ain't really talking about no money. It's just me on principle, like Hulu. I'm like, am I going to pay $12 a month for Hulu? Do you upload content every month, Iyapo? Every day? You upload content? And then I'm so weird about my cards. It's like people are like, oh, well, go out and get a special card. Now, one time I went out and got a special card just dedicated to something I was doing online. And then I sat and watched them charge me $4 a month for that card. Like I watched $4 a month go out of that card after I had done what I wanted to do. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's like, I already have a card. Like, it's just like, and $4 a month, I feel like in theory, that doesn't seem like much, but I'm like, why am I giving somebody, I think it was Walmart. Why am I giving Walmart another $4 to Walmart? I don't even like the Waltons or Rush Card or whatever fake dummy card I'm going to get so they don't have access to my information and just, so I don't know. But if I had a sponsor, that's what I'm saying. I need to get put a packet together and be like, be my sponsor my channel for $300. You could put me, on these 2 black things. And then I wouldn't even have to worry about it or think about it. I'd just, pay for the year and be done with it. Or have somebody else, but I just haven't even. It's like, shoot, I'm 2 hours and 14 minutes on here. I planned for an hour and 20 minutes. And now my whole life, I have to readjust everything. So what are you looking forward to? What's new and good? What are you looking forward to? Even if you don't want to share it, we had so much fun. I can't be out here having fun. I gotta eat. How am I gonna afford all of these fresh fruits and vegetables? I got a buried Saturday night. Oh, buried. Oh, so if you're watching this on Playbook or Playback, or if you're on the line, Saturday night on channel Iyapo Yapa, IYAPO YAPA, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The movie is Buried. If you can get it, get it. If not, hopefully, maybe, possibly. Oh, I have to check to see if I can get it. Hopefully, maybe, possibly, we'll be able to watch it through Yappa's split screen. They didn't do nothing sophisticated. They were just like, here's my TV, and they just had the camera pointed. Like, we just watching TV together. It wasn't no split screen. I know you like to edit stuff and all of that kind of stuff. I understand. You don't want anything on your channel that like looks janky. But anyway, that's all I got. That's all I got. It's $2.99 on YouTube. You know, $2.99 is enough rice and beans, enough rice and lentils to last me in desperation times for 4 days. And I'm just gonna give it to YouTube. I don't know. I've never bought a movie or anything off of YouTube. And I'm kind of opposed because I have cable, and I kind of feel like if I can't, it's so many things on cable that I don't watch that I pay for already. I'm kind of like, so I'm going to pay. I have to get over the mental hump, because when I think about it, I just kind of got to get me some lentils. Yes. I love lentils. I like the taste of them. I didn't know I liked the taste of them. I remember one time I was someplace traveling and I got some lentil something. I didn't know what it was, and I was like eating it with corn chips. I'm like, this is so good. What's in here? And it was like lentils and salt. And then after that, I'm like, oh, I really like the taste of lentils. But see, I haven't even had any lentils. Has it been a week, 2 weeks since I've been on this thing? I think I put some lentils in my soup the other day, but now I'm like, these dollars add up, right? $2 or $3 here, $12 here, $15 here. And then next thing you know, I can't go. I'm trying to get on the road to go someplace. I like the red lentils. I don't do the red lentils too much because I'm like, why are they splitting? Is there some processing? And I think I read someplace that something makes them split like that. They're like, it's like the equivalent of white rice. That's the impression I got. But shoot, that $3 could be part of my get out of Dodge fund. Because I gotta get my feet in the sand. And I don't know if Virginia Beach is gonna get it. But shoot, it's gonna cost me money to get to Virginia Beach. Wherever we trying to go to the Jim Crow Museum. How am I gonna get to the Jim Crow Museum? That $3 could help me. That's like what? A gallon of gas. That's 25 miles. How much is gas? I don't even know how much gas is. I'm so embarrassed. How much is gas? I never put gas in the tank. I remember one time I called my husband. I'm like, my car is dying. He's like, does it need gas? I'm like, I told you my car is dying. And it needed gas. I was really embarrassed. Oh, yeah, we're going on the road. Yeah, we got to keep talking about that and processing that. I don't know what the next step is. I guess the next step is to find out the address. Where is the place and what are the hours? So I'm going to do that. That's what I'm committing to do. All right. So we're going to have a field trip to the Jim Crow Museum. You told me where it was at Yappa. I just say Fair Estate, but it's wherever it is. It's someplace in Michigan. And a date for everyone. Yeah, I got to save up money to buy a bag of dates. Here's a date for you, a date for you, a date for you. Now plant them seeds. Oh, it's fig trees they do down south. Let me get off get off of here talking about nothing. So go out and enjoy the rest of your day. Be blessed and be the blessing that you are. And tomorrow, next time I talk to you, I want you to be prepared to, share what's new and good and what you're looking forward to. We want some good news from across the YouTube world. And maybe I'll see y'all. All right. Maybe I'll see y'all on a live or something. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous you. Peace.